Welcome to Butterflies of Wisdom, everyone. And unfortunately, you will probably see in the press today Butterflies of Freedom, not my doing, but my podcast, but not my doing. That was someone else's doing, and I'm like, really? So just be aware that it's my podcast, but it's not the title of it. Butterflies of Wisdom. Thank you very much. I don't know how they got that one screwed up, but that's okay. And so, okay. Last night, I was at an event for the exoskeleton. And I don't know if you guys have access to a Tesla store wherever you may be listening. But if you look at the price tag of a Tesla, that's how much a brand new Exo cost, which we now have, thank you very much, we now have a light version of the Exo, which I hope I get to play in as of July. As of July, because this Exo is lighter than the one I'm used to. So the battery pack has to be lighter. I mean, you can't make a light Exo with a heavy battery pack. There's no way. So hopefully I will get to play with the Indigo exoskeleton, and hopefully we will see some results with the Indigo because it's lighter, because it's a little bit more fit to me because I'm so skinny. The other one is ginormous. I mean, you guys have seen it. The other one, I look like tiny in it, and I'm really not that tiny. It's because I'm so short. I'm only 5 feet to play on. Well, so hopefully I get to play in another $1,000. So anyway, my point being, I wanted to thank you guys for trying to support the Living Bionics Foundation. And of course, I didn't get into all the work I do behind the scenes with those guys last night, but I think your donations, and I'll find this out from Amanda, I think your donations went towards us acquiring this new exoskeleton. So if you guys want to go Google the Indigo exoskeleton, you will see what I'm talking about. So that's my first announcement. My second announcement is, okay, it's official. It's absolutely official. I met with my vocational rehab as of Tuesday, June 27th. And they asked me what my life goal is. Of course, I was spitting out all these numbers and all these random facts to the poor woman. She's like, wow, I don't get patients like you that know their histories and know all the numbers I want. And so, but the one thing she did ask me, and it took a couple seconds to for her to process it, not me, is what do you want after your education? And I said, solo entrepreneurship and be a freelance writer. I spent that out in 2 seconds. And so she goes, solo entrepreneurship isn't easy. My dad and I, who were both solo, I'm still a solo entrepreneur, he was, just looked at her like, you're nuts. So we're going to stick with that goal for right now, and if that goal changes by a vote we have, which hopefully it won't, I will let you guys know, but it's official. I am leaving the education field in 4 years to go pursue my dreams of this podcast and go pursue my dreams of freelance writing as a fashion journalist. And so, that being said, Mel and I are going to talk about solo entrepreneurship and give our thoughts on that.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hey, Wynn, how are you? Now, those are two awesome announcements. To touch on your first one about the exoskeleton, you know, as a person I've dedicated over 3 decades of my life to human performance and biomechanics, and I really love that part of what I do, just for how the body moves, human body moves, and I'm in awe of the advancement in technology that we're able to do with that kind of thing. So I applaud companies that work on that kind of stuff. And so I'm, sending you and all the people that do that kind of thing and create those kind of things for people like you, all my strength, love, and prayers every day to make sure that they do their best and you get what you need out of it. Second, your solo entrepreneurship. You know, the whole world's built on that. And anything and everything that we do started out as an idea, and somebody had the wherewithal to start the actions and set it in motion to make it so. And over time and generations, whether it started from the Renaissance period all the way through the Industrial Revolution, things are refined over and over and over and reinvented, and here we are. It takes a special person to be a solo entrepreneur, and you don't have to wait 4 years. You're actually doing it now, and whether you want to look at it as a transition period, a learning curve, an apprenticeship, or whatever the case may be, you already know what to do, and you're just refreshing yourself and adding to your repertoire with what you're doing at school. So anyway, that's my take on solo entrepreneurship. We could spend a lot of time on it, and we can really deep dive into it, which we should, because it's a lot of fun. It's a labor of love. It's a lot of pain, but you know what? You make a difference in the world every day. Not to say that people who clock in and clock out don't, because they're an integral part of entrepreneurship too, at a different level. But you know, it's being an entrepreneur is one of the greatest things in the world, I believe. So there you go. That's my take on your two things, Lynn.
Well, I appreciate that you have a take, and because solo entrepreneurship is so hard, and Mel can attest to this, we need a little bit of new time. So I'll put it this way, and then we'll give more thoughts on solo entrepreneurship. How I do it is I schedule my exoskeletons like a meeting. I don't have my phone. You know, those videos weren't taken on my phone because I don't bring my phone to the gym. My gym actually has a policy over by the weights, and they actually have a policy throughout the gym. Please refrain from using cell phones in this gym. Now, granted, you can listen to podcasts, of course, in the gym, but they don't want you battling on the phone while you're working out on a spin bike. So what I tend to do is just simply leave my cell phone. I apologize for the coughing I had. Just simply leave my cell phone in the car, because I'm like, everyone knows on my schedule, everyone knows that I am unavailable from 2 to 3 on Mondays and 1:30 to 2:30 on Wednesdays. I'm making myself better so I can make my company better. When do you agree with that, Mel?
Absolutely. You know, I mean, it's exercise, your exercise hour or period or however long you do it for is just as effective, if not maybe even better, than meditation. It's actually a form of meditation. It's just, there's just action involved in it. The blood flow that stimulates your endorphins and the creativity within you, or, you know, whatever suits your personality and whatever brings it out, is very important. And you should not be distracted when you do it. You know, especially in the environment, the gym environment that you're in. You know, especially if you're working with a coach. You know, my clients don't have time to be looking at their phones when I'm coaching them. Sometimes if I'm working with I have a lot of senior leaders that I work with at companies, or if it's a medical professional who's waiting for a call regarding a patient, okay, that's fine. But for the most part, the average person doesn't really need a phone while they're working out. So yeah, no, I agree totally.
And the funny thing is, I haven't told you guys this yet, but I will admit this now. When I was recovering from my back surgery in 06, when they almost killed me, thank you very much, I thought about, okay, as I was walking up and down the hallway, Jesus, there goes myself dating myself. As I was walking up and down the hallway, the first hour of PT, I thought, okay, what is my life going to look like? And I thought, well, motivational speaking. Well, I did not know that I had the concepts of butterflies of wisdom in my head, but I did not know how huge butterflies of wisdom was. So that being said, and this was in 06, so that being said, you can probably think of creative projects on the bicycle or in an exoskeleton. I don't care, but you can probably think of creative projects at the gym because you're focused on you. You're not focused on your kids. You're not focused on everything else. You're not focused on what I have to do next because your cell phone is farther away than you think, and my cell phone gets driven off, and then, really, my cell phone gets driven off, and then I see it at the end of my session because my dad drives me out there, and so that's the way I do it. I don't know about everyone else, but it's like you can come up with more creative projects in a gym or just simply walking up and down the hospital hallway than you can in daily life.
You know, when you're talking about, just listening to you talking about, creativity, a lot of creativity, I think the best of it comes out when you're inspired, right? And for some reason, when I'm training or if I'm running, my intuition or, inner voice or voice from God or whatever you want to call it, it tends to come out at that time. And I have created some of my most effective and best marketing ideas, programs and plans and artistic things or whatever the case may be. If I'm working on a particular project, if it's in if I stick it in a parking lot for the time being as I'm working with it and I let it go, during my workouts and during my runs, it seems to resurface. And I think a lot of that is because there's this release that your body's going through when you're working out. You're working as a full unit with your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your muscular system, your central nervous system, everything. Your spine is the fluid in your spine is working really well, and your brain is just firing off. So if for anything above and beyond all of those benefits that regular exercise will give you and strengthening your body will give you, the creativity within yourself and drawing inspiration out of yourself should be more than enough reason for you to work out on a regular basis. That's really something that's not really talked about a lot when it comes to the investment of health and fitness. There's a lot of obviously great things about doing it, but if you are a solo entrepreneur, if you are if you're head of a project at work, if you're a student, if you're if you're a writer, oh my God, if you're a writer, if you're an artist, whatever the case may be, if creativity is part of what you do, I highly recommend that you find some exercise program that you enjoy to do. It has to be something that you love to do. It can't be something that is a daunting chore in your mind, because the way you approach it has a lot to do with how you feel while you're in it. And there are just some people that think, oh, I'm just going to do this because it's supposed to be good for me. Well, that's not good enough. No pun intended, but you got to take it to the best level. And the best exercise program is the one that you find fun with, right? Yeah, and there's not just one type. You know, I know a lot of people that mix it up between cycling, running, yoga, handball. I don't care what it is, Tai Chi. Just do something. You know, the cheapest form is throw on some shoes and go take a walk outside. I mean, I have a client who is in a wheelchair, Greg Davidson. And we were talking about cardio one day, and he walked in and he had this, oh, poor me, pity me attitude. He's all, you know, what can I do to work out? And I posted a video yesterday about him. If you guys go on Facebook and see it, he's in a wheelchair, and he is doing things with combat ropes and bands and cables and dumbbells. And then he said, you know, I never thought I'd be able to do this. And I said, okay, well, let's take it a step further. I want you to do your cardio. And he's all, cardio? How am I supposed to do cardio? I don't have any legs. I said, no, you do. Your wheels are your legs. I go, how fast can you get this motorized wheelchair to go? And I don't remember how fast he said. And he said, I can get it moving pretty well. I said, I'll tell you what. Why don't you, during the early morning or in the afternoon, when it, you know, in the evening when it's safe outside, where it's safe outside and where it's nice and cool, get out there and wheel around for half an hour. He said, what's that going to do? I said, well, I'll tell you what. One of the things I love doing about running and doing cycling is the wind in my face, right? And just the act of moving forward and the force that it generates. If you're in your wheelchair and you put that thing at a steady pace or as far and hard as you can, the wind hitting your face and your body is a form of resistance, and you're going to feel some endorphins from it. And if you can just let yourself go and enjoy that feeling day in and day out, you're going to elevate your heart rate and you're going to elevate how you feel, and you're going to feel great. That is your cardio. And he was stunned when I said that, and he said, really? And he actually did, and it worked really well. So anyway, so you don't need that. You could be very creative with whatever you do. That's my point.
Well, I was going to say that's an inspiring story right now. And I was going to say they've done studies on the Galileo tilt table, and they've done studies on the exoskeleton, how it improves the heart and how it improves the pulse circulation. I mean, my pulse circulation is gone practically, thank you very much, because of the exoskeleton, and how it improves the internal organs and now functioning. I mean, I have a stronger bladder than I did now, thank you to the exoskeleton and thank you to the Galileo tilt table, because it just improves your whole self-esteem, your whole everything. So that being said, Mel, what is your best advice for scheduling? I know you're doing coaching all the time, so what is your best advice for the solo entrepreneur who goes, oh great, now these two dummies are telling me to go to the gym, and I have a kid taking that, pulling at my pants like, mommy, 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 and right. I'm thinking of those parents who work at home. And so, what is the best advice for the stay-at-home parent who's building a company who wants to do this? Do you think just bringing your kids to the gym and sticking them in a kid's gym, or do you think just I don't know, because it's hard enough for me to go work out on Mondays after teaching kids, after teaching kids in the winter. It's hard enough for me. I can't imagine. Right. I'll still have the same schedule, you guys, when I become a solo entrepreneur. But I can't imagine having a kid tug at my pants leg and want my attention, and yet I'm trying to build $1 million company, and yet I want to go work out.
You know, being a parent, I could tell you that your kids are one of your biggest drivers, but they're also your most major responsibility. And it's the most wonderful, and it's the most wonderful thing that could be in your life. You need to kind of rewind and take a little step back a little bit. We all do things that are important to us effortlessly, right? If it's important enough to you, you'll make time for it and you will do it. That's the first thing that needs to occur. So if you are at ground zero and your fitness level is really nothing, then you need to really look at your schedule and say to yourself, I'm going to mark in, let's start with 4 times a week or 3 times a week, a half an hour. And this is going to be just as important as my business. It's going to be just as important as my raising my child. This is non-negotiable. I'm going to be exercising at this time. And once you put that with a repeater on your calendar, without an expiration date, then it becomes a visual habit that you see all the time. Then it's just a matter of executing it. When should you work out? Figure it out. You know, I mean, if you're able to work out at 5 a.m. while everybody's still asleep, awesome. Maybe you're a single parent, right? If you're a single parent and you live in an apartment or you live in a home, it is so easy to work out. There are a ton of YouTube videos that could show you how to do quick workouts. You can put your child in a walker or a carrier, a stroller, and go around the neighborhood and walk. There are a lot of mom and me programs out there that work around mom's schedules. I mean, there's so many things. Maybe you can get together with a friend and say, let's connect, and this is what I'm doing. And you will have a friend or two who's a fellow parent, or not, you know, and say, you know what, I applaud that. I'd love to share that with you. Let's do it together. It's just a matter of setting an emotion, making it such a priority that you look at your goals for the year and you say, okay, in a 12-month calendar year, I'm going to break this up into 4 quarters. I'm going to break it up into 12 cycles and 52 weeks. If I gave you, let's say there's, I don't know, 52 weeks in a year, I give you a week off for every quarter. That's 4 weeks off the year, 2 weeks for vacation, 1 week for illness, and another week for emergencies or whatever the case may be. So you'd be working out 11 weeks straight. If you worked out, and I think the math adds up this way, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you just worked out twice a week, that's 96 workouts in a 12-month calendar, 52 weeks. You can't tell me that you're not going to improve and be creative and feel better and elevate your life by not working out 96 times. I mean, seriously, who couldn't do that? And I'm giving you the bare minimum of twice a week. If you worked out 2 times a week after a period of, I don't know, a couple of 2-3 months, number one, it'd be incredibly boring. And number two, your own self-competitive nature and your ego would be like, I'm wasting my time. How do I make this more effective? That twice a week turns into 2, turns into 3, turns into 30 minutes, turns into an hour, turns into one form of exercise, 2 types of exercise, because you're now accepting it into your lifestyle and you feel good and you're equating it with feeling better and more creative. If you are a naturally positively inclined person, that will probably happen. If you're a naturally toxic person and you're negative within yourself, well, then you've got deeper issues that you need to address. But the bottom line is you need that physical release, and it's not that difficult, seriously, you know. Anyway, that's my take on it.
I was just going to say, you guys, if your kids are 5 and above, if they can stand and hold the tennis racket, for those of you in California, Hinton, you can do this all year round. But I noticed yesterday that kids were walking in with their parents with tennis rackets. So why not you guys grab a tennis racket and go play tennis with your kids? My God, that's a hard exercise in itself. Plus, you're spending time with your kids. The kids love it. And plus, you're working out your heart and upping your heart rate.
You know, that's true. And here's the thing, too. Your kids, when they're young, are are really just a small time frame. I have two boys that are 15 and 17, and my younger son needed a ride yesterday to football practice, and he's massive. He's way bigger than me. At 15 years old, I am 5'6", 170 pounds. He is 5'10", 180. This big man, and he's 15. It seemed like only yesterday that he was tiny and he was running around my gym and climbing up on the dumbbells and playing Little League and all that stuff. It's such a small moment in time. So for those of you saying, well, I don't have time, I have kids, I have this, I have that, well, I'll tell you what, you better create that experience with them because it's a blueprint for them. My sons don't know any different. They went to every softball and baseball tournament I played in. They went to, the gym with me a lot. They worked out in the garage with me a lot. Now I sit back and I watch them do it, So if you want to find a bigger reason as to why you should have an exercise program in your lifestyle as a parent, that's it. That is it, Make it either something they see that's normal, or if you have older kids and they see you, they're accustomed to you seeing you doing unhealthy things and you change your life and you slowly start to improve it, be an inspiration for them. Either create the cycle or break the cycle. So yes, that's the easiest thing. That's the easiest thing to do.
If your kids are younger, they'll probably kill you for this one. But you can always take them to the gym with you. And I know most gyms have, especially mine, because young kids are not allowed on the gym floor, which they shouldn't be, because they can easily hurt themselves. So now granted, this is what my mom used to do when my mom was still alive. We would drive out to Stillmass, Colorado, which is, I would say, a good 20 to 30 minutes from my house. It's not an easy feat. And she used to stick me in kids' gym, and only for an hour or so, while she would go work out. And at the time, now this kids' gym is placed differently now. At the time, the wellness center was directly across from the kids' gym. So if I needed her, someone could go get her. And then she would pull me out of the kids' gym, and guess what? We would go to the pool and have a glorious day at the pool. And as I got older, she would actually take me to exercise class with her, set me up with a laptop, and set me up with my laptop, and I used to play a game, but every single time I would look up, I would see these women working out. So that's what, and granted my mom had asthma all her life, so that's what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing able-bodied / disabled women working out. And so it's really not that hard for you guys to implement a schedule of working out into your solo entrepreneur schedule. And you just have to set it as a meeting. And I'm sorry we bring up working out and self-care into solo entrepreneurship. But if you don't have your health, you don't have your company. And that goes
you're
for
right.
any company. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I've done a lot of speaking engagements before sales teams and management teams and just, work teams in general. And there is a direct correlation with your stress management, your work productivity, the ability to meet the bottom line, the communication within the company and with yourself and the team around you. There's a direct correlation with how that increases and how that improves with how you improve your body and your mind and your soul. There just is. Because let's face it, every work environment, whether you work within a team, whether you clock in and clock out for a company, or whether you're a solo entrepreneur, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, there is a serious amount of stress. And the number one thing that stress produces physiologically is inflammation. And most of your, serious diseases are linked to inflammation. So if you are not strengthening those muscles and increasing the tolerance of your bones, if you're not eating properly and treating your digestive system in a filtering and clean way, you are really asking for a lot of problems to happen in the future. And I'm not saying that working out will totally get rid of that stress, but wouldn't you rather be a sponge that gets wrung out so you can go underneath the water and absorb more of it and then wring it back out and be dry and strong and taut, rather than be the sponge that's underneath the faucet and can no longer absorb anything? Once that happens, you're just a ticking time bomb, and something's going to happen to you. So your body is just going to give up at some point and reset itself, by way of a stroke, by way of cancer, by way of a heart attack. Now, that sounds pretty serious and kind of, it's severe all the way on the other end, but it happens every day. Seriously. Or you find a different coping mechanism, right? What are the other coping mechanisms? Drinking, eating, just completely shutting down, right? Completely shutting down. You get home, you flop in front of the TV, and you binge watch Netflix, and you just sit there and nothing, and you're trying to tune out, and that's not good. That's not good at all. That's the worst kind of hamster wheel to be in. If you're going to be on a hamster wheel, you might as well do something where you're getting rid of stuff, because tomorrow it's going to be added on again. And if you're unhappy with your life and that's a bad hamster wheel, change the things in your life, right? I mean, I know somebody who decided to leave teaching and go after a fashion journalism degree and be a solo entrepreneurship, and she changed her circumstance by making a courageous decision and taking the actions to do it. And she'll be out here soon, and we'll go to Napa and have a glass of wine and talk about it. Do you know of anybody like that?
Content. Yeah, and that's because
I know her.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Mel. But because my body gave me a dang good health scare last year. So I thought, okay, if my body's telling me what I need to do and how to do it, I should listen to my body, because you guys were with me. I was preparing to have my back open up again, and turns out they didn't want to do it because I was too high risk. But that taught me a lot about my about where I was headed with my life, and that really, really taught me a lot about where I was headed with my life. I'm not going to stay in preschool teaching for many years, because I can't do it. My body's not getting any younger here. My body's getting older, and my bones are changing. My metabolism is changing, just like anyone else's bodies would. So when your body gives you a health scare, and also when someone is diagnosed with a brain aneurysm, which is, my mom had a slow leaking brain aneurysm, and I believe thanks to the birth in 2010, I know it lay dormant for many years, because I know that brain aneurysms lay dormant, because my family got tested immediately day one when she was in the hospital, and they got tested for brain aneurysms, and I'm going to get tested for brain aneurysm eventually. And so I know that brain aneurysm can lay dormant, but I could see my mom's chemical imbalances changing in 2009. So the dang thing started in 2009 and didn't get into full manifestation until 2010. And she passed away from viral meningitis. And so that she didn't pass away from a brain aneurysm. Quite frankly, the brain aneurysm surgery saved her life. But when you have a health scare like that, you have to look at your life to say, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? I mean, with my health scare last year and with my back being in so much pain, I literally had a reflexive moment. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't be sitting on Micah and teaching preschool and having them run around and me just sit there. I need these kids to at least sit down for 2 seconds while I get myself organized. But that being said, when I didn't know that until I had my health scare. So when you have a health scare like cancer or like a brain aneurysm or almost major back surgery, you really have to look at your life and look at your company and look at your life and look at the company you keep and your physical company as well.
You know, I couldn't agree with you more. I recently went through a weekend where I did that. I took inventory and did some personal house cleaning. And it's important to pump the brakes sometimes. And you don't have to wait around for any particular moment to do it. You know, just stop for a second and really take a bird's eye view. I mean, a real bird's eye view. You know, look at your life as a map on the ground, from above, and look at all the destinations you're trying to get to. Look at all the people that are in it. You know, where do they fit? How do they contribute? How do they not? You know, all that kind of stuff. We are all part of a big wheel of people, places, and things. And you absolutely are in charge of that. You're the driver. I really believe that. Are there some circumstances that are complicated? Sure. I'm not going to dismiss that. I'm not going to discredit what people are going through. There's some intertwining sometimes in people's lives that they can't help. But for the most part, I really believe that each person can kind of create their own destiny. They can change the cycle, starting from within, starting from their self-view, starting from how they take care of themselves physically. Take inventory of how are you eating. You know, what are you putting in your body so that it could heal on its own. If you are a high performance machine, are you sitting in the garage all the time, figuratively, and rusting and collecting sludge in that machine? Or are you running that thing every day out on a track at its fullest potential? And if not, slowly get it out of the garage. Start polishing it out. Get the systems clean. That's all mental, emotional, and physical. How are you spiritually within yourself? You know, are you connected with yourself? Is there a higher being or intuition that you listen to? Is that a healthy connection? There's so many different questions you can ask yourself, and if you don't know what questions to ask you, Google it. It's so simple. How do I take inventory? What are the important things I need to ask myself to make myself better? You know, what am I missing in my life? There's a myriad of information out there. You could literally type in any question in any organized fashion of words, and you'll come up with an answer. But my main point is ask. You don't ask, you don't get. You don't specifically ask, you will never get. Pump the brakes, stop for a moment, close your eyes, and feel the love that you have for yourself. And if you cannot feel it, that's a red flag right there. Start right there before, above, and beyond anything else. Before anything happens, that's what needs to occur first. Your main responsibility is to yourself before you can affect everybody else. So there you go.
And I was going to say I'm interviewing a creative later on today that this podcast Getting Work to Work, and he talks about creativity all the time. So as we build this company, be creative about it and make your office mobile. I mean, Mel and I can, and yes, this will be a 3-part series. We're actually starting out with solo entrepreneurship. We're actually doing a deep dive on self-care next Thursday, and then we're going to talk about, Mel and I, we're going to talk about making your office mobile so you don't have to be hunched over at the computer all the time. Because hunched over at the computer isn't good. I have iPad and one of those chairs that's a ball. And I will sit on it and as a matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now, and later this afternoon I will sit on that ball and write. And the ball has no arms, and and it's a wonderful thing. So please take care of yourself, and please put self-care into your business. Build your business around you. That's the whole point of solo entrepreneurship. And I'm sorry if you're listening to this cubicle and thinking, oh, I want to do what Win and Mel are doing. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And my last piece of advice, and then I'll let Mel close out, is ask for help. Ask for your network. I knew, funny story here. I knew that I was going to Voc Rehab on June 27th. So what did I do? I asked Mel to do a deep dive with me before I went into that meeting live so I could give clear answers to this woman. And this woman was so shocked that I gave clear answers. And at the end I said, how can I help you? Because now I'm one of 80 clients. And she goes, gulp, I have never had a client ask me that before. I'm always looking for my clients, not them helping me. And it's like, okay, time to turn the tables. Time to turn the tables, Libby. And her name is Libby, by the way. And yes, she's really just started listening to this podcast, so now I have to be really careful what I say. But it's time to turn the tables. Let's help each other out here, and let's not make solo entrepreneurship this lonely, daunting project.
You're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be lonely. You are the most valuable asset to yourself. So pump the brakes, take a step back, take an inventory, write down all the things that are important to you, write down all the things that you feel are negative in your life, and look at them and take ownership of them. Specifically ask, get coaching. I have coaches. I am an expert at what I do. I'm also very weak in some areas, so I have other coaches that I turn to. And it doesn't cost a whole lot, and sometimes it doesn't cost anything. You're more than welcome to message me on Facebook, Mel Martin, and just shoot me a random question, and if I have an answer for you, I'll give it to you, no obligation at all, okay? It's just the energy in the universe, and if there's something I can give of myself to you to make you better, then I'm happy to do that. But if you suffer in silence, that's your fault. Entrepreneurship is about freedom. It's about pain. It's about glory. It's about creativity. It's about all that. But you are the star in the lineup. But you don't have to be the biggest star. You just have to be one of them. You want to surround yourself with people that are brighter and smarter than you in a lot of different areas because they will feel the same way about you. Okay? Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and life will be well. It's not going to be easy, but it starts with a decision. There you go, Lynn.
There we go. And next Thursday, we're doing a deep dive on self-care. I know we did a little bit of it today, but next Thursday we're doing a deep dive on self-care. And then the following Thursday, we're going to be doing a segment on a podcast on how to make your office as mobile friendly as you can, because with these iPads now and with these cell phones, you can basically look at them anywhere. Basically look at them at the beach if you choose to do so. As long as you don't throw your iPad in the deep blue ocean and all but a Golden Gate Split. But that being said, when you feel like doing that, when you feel like throwing your cell phone across the moon, or throwing it in the ocean, or throwing it across the Golden State, but please don't, and get out and just take a walk and reflect on what your circumstances may be, and tell the kids, Mommy's going for a walk. She needs to have creative time, especially when you have writer's block, and especially when you're trying to build $1 million company. It's tough when you have writer's block, and so if you need to go take a walk and go play tennis with a bunch of friends, and just try and make yourself good. And so I think that is that, unless now you have something else to say.
No, it's just, let's just have a phenomenal day and let's do this together. Be the best energy field that you could be, an asset to the universe.
That's it. Together.
Absolutely.
Let's
Absolutely.
Together.
Wonderful conversation with you.
Wonderful. And we'll see you guys next Thursday, and then you guys will hear me as of today. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, we kicked it off season 6 yesterday with a very special episode. Mel, I think I'm going to send you that one, because you will be surprised at how I kicked season 6 off of Butterflies with Wisdom, and you will learn some things about me that I didn't even know about myself, and because it's the person I was interviewing. And so I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful Thursday, and I hope those of you who are going to 4th of July festivities enjoy them. And then we'll be back next Thursday, and have a safe and happy 4th of July. And then we'll be back next Thursday, you guys, with another insightful episode. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Take care.